What's up, y'all? It's like 2 in the morning or something. I'm ready for bed. I had to take my little do-rag thing off, but I know I'm looking kind of rough, but just bear with me here because I wanted to say this from the heart more and not like when I've been thinking about it too much or I don't have the enthusiasm that I did originally. So here we go. I'm debating whether or not to say his name, this content creator's name. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards I'm just not gonna deal with it because I don't want no beef. But there's a content creator that I've been watching for maybe a couple years, even on and off. Not religiously or anything like that. They're not a consistent like daily or monthly creator. So yeah, I watch the channel because he likes to expose and analyze a lot of different YouTube scammers and hustlers and people like Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, those types of people. And I like watching those types of things because it makes me feel like I'm not the only person who's noticing the extreme fraudulence with these folk. So it's cool, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I support it. Like the video, it's funny, all that stuff. So a video of his comes up on my notifications, and it's called something like Candace Owens, the tranny who hates a certain type of black male, something along these lines. And I'm like, what did she say? What did she tweet? Candace Owens, I'm not like a fan, I'm not a non-fan. I think it's cool. Like, I don't know. I'm really apolitical at this point in my life, so I just don't like to get into it with the politics and liberal and conservative. I think they're all trash. I do believe that right now liberals are being more trash than conservatives in general, but that's a whole other topic for another day, and it's just not worth getting into for me. It's just not a battle I choose to fight in my life anymore. Now, mind you, even though I feel certain ways about liberal, conservative, and different opinions, I like to hear both sides of every story. I like to hear why people feel one way, even if it's not the way I feel about a person or about a topic. So I'm listening, I'm like, okay, what's up? And in essence, regardless of what she said, she said nothing along the lines of what he has said about her in his reaction to her feelings about this current situation with the cop and the unarmed black male that happened this past couple weeks, June 2020. I wrote it down so I don't mess up. He basically called her, not basically, he called her a coon. He wished death upon her very directly. And he said that he either wants to or will go to Louisiana to hire a witch doctor to put black magic on her so that, her life suffers dearly. So, I went on her Twitter, I looked up what she'd been tweeting, and then I went on the video that had the most views on her YouTube site. This is Candace Owens I'm speaking of. Watched the whole thing through. And in essence, what I believe she was saying was that she refuses to be controlled by the media in the way that many people are being controlled. Because the media has made this incident viral. That is why people are protesting, whereas they didn't make the incident right before this, the guy with the first and last name starting with an A, they didn't make that as viral, and therefore there were no riots.
Like, just because a bunch of people do something and are reactive and stupid and emotional does not mean that I am now required to be reactive and stupid and emotional. I have a higher emotional IQ than a lot of people, and I first of all ask questions and ask why is the media spinning this web? Why are you trying to get me to react, and why are you doing it so aggressively? So
it's just like, I understand what she's saying completely, that she does not want to be affected by whatever the media tells her to be affected by. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. This other guy, the guy who wished death on her on YouTube, he was saying basically, I think, that she thought that this guy, this murdered individual, deserved to die because he was like a criminal or something like that. I did not hear that in her video that I watched, so I don't know if it's true or not. But I mean, like I said, it's still somebody's opinion. It might be a crappy one, but it's still an opinion. You're upset that this black life got murdered, got taken away, but you want to take away another person's black life because of an opinion she had on the original incident. What is this really? Like, what? This has kind of led me to hypothesize two things. So thing one, it seems that black lives do not matter to black people unless the black life is mewling and caping for whatever that original black life is complaining about or upset about. If you have any other opinion, you are worthy of death. You're worthy of getting a witch doctor to put curses on you, possibly generational curses. That is how much you do not care about a black life just because it has a different opinion than you on news. And it's not like her main opinion wasn't even about the actual person who was murdered. It was about how the news manipulates and decides what's important, what's worth writing for, and what's not. I'm not saying that it is bad or shameful or stupid to be affected by news that occurs. It's hard not to. It's hard not to feel sad or angry that something happens and that it's being like rubbed in your face how unjust it is. But I am also saying that I understand Candace Owens' point that it is strange that so many, for example, black bodies die every day all around the world, and no one says much about it, because the world collectively does not deal with it. It's just another dead body. But then when the news decides that it's going to be viral and it's a problem, and that companies are going to come out and send emails to everybody like, we're so sorry this happened. Like, were you guys not sorry about all the other stuff that happened? Were those other black lives not important? And like a side note to the side note to the side note, yes, I'm aware that people think it's comparing apples to oranges, saying that black on black crime is worse, but, and more rampant than white cop, unarmed black man crime. I'm aware that many people do not think that is a good comparison. And I'll respect your belief with that too. But the bottom line is that people in this free country should have the right to decide that they do not want to get emotionally invested in certain news stories, especially the ones that are chosen to be viral. I think there is no problem in that. I think there's also no problem in questioning the news's narrative. There's nothing wrong with that. People do it all the time. The person who wished death on her said, like, why can't you just shut up? He basically said, like, even if you thought this, why don't you just shut up? This is not the time. Well, when is the time? Why must she shut up? Y'all don't shut up ever. There are countless videos of black men talking about how ugly and disgusting and crusty and ghetto and violent and pathetic black women are. They never stop. They go 24/7, and I never hear people saying this must stop. This is not the time. No matter what happens, they never stop doing that. But that's okay. It just doesn't make sense. This brings me to my second thing that I'm hypothesizing, that I'm realizing. It seems like there is a demonic hatred for black women in the black community. Just so much hatred. If a black female does something that is out of pocket, or in somebody else's eyes out of pocket or not okay, it's not just a like, man, stop or whatever, or you're stupid. It's like, you need to die. The way his voice was getting, it was just like, oh my God, he's made countless videos on these actual scammers, these YouTube scammers like Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed. These people have been violating the black community, the most vulnerable of the black community, for decades, some of them. And it's you'll talk crap about them and make jokes, but you don't wish death on them. Why are you wishing death on this like 5'4", 100-pound chick? Hello, friends. This is me from the future, the editing future. I wanted to add some like addendums real quick. Oh my God, I'm so lame. Wait, do you see this? What is this shit? I just want to make sure that I drive the point home that this is not a rarity or an exception of the violent condemnation and violent policing of many black women's thoughts in pop culture and media in general right now. So I'm going to give a few examples of this violent, threatening behavior as it pertains to when, black women in the media say something that's not what the standard black expectations are of how you're supposed to think. One example is Snoop Dogg versus Gayle King. A couple months ago when Kobe Bryant passed away, Gayle King interviewed one of his friends, who I think is also a female basketball player, and she asked one or two questions about his sexual misconduct allegations. And I think she provided a sufficient answer. It was neither here nor there, so not much slandering really occurred at all. I am pretty sure she did not mention Snoop Dogg in this interview, but Snoop Dogg took it upon himself to post a video of himself, well, I'll show you, saying shit like this.
You ain't coming after fucking Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb-ass questions. I get sick of y'all. I want to call you one. Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog head bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the family and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
You sad. I'm finna fire your ass up. You sad, bro. People be talking, black people need to stop fucking trying to hurt black people for success. It's all the reason you ask that fucking shit for, to get your fucking numbers up. Give a fuck who you can to.
Gayle King, her situation was actually kind of an exception because it was actually dealt with. People checked Snoop Dogg, and I believe it was because she's such a highly respected journalist among her peers, and because journalists have a voice, especially people as high up in the ranks as she is, they were able to call him out and be like, you're insane, you are threatening a journalist, so thank God that she had people who had her back. People who were also not in the black community had her back, because otherwise it would have just been accepted, and it just solidified more that it's okay to threaten black women when they say something that you don't like. Okay, so last thing, I think most of y'all who are keep afloat of hip-hop culture, rap culture, remember that there was like a battle rap incident between two guys, and one man with the initials GC said of his opponent's daughter that her life will be more difficult. This was like one of his disses, that her life will be more difficult because she has darker skin complexion than his kids. And then he goes on to mention, in essence, that he was going to take this man's daughter and said that he will pimp out the man's same 6-year-old girl, having her get violated by either 20 or 30 males back to back. Okay, I wrote it down. I don't know why I'm trying to still do it off the top of my head, but yeah, that is, if I have to explain why this is just insane and disgusting, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure that many battle rappers have had male children. I don't know if they go this hard on them, but this person is just aside from this guy. I know battle rap's supposed to be tough and rough, but of all the things you could think of, those are things you're not just thinking of this girl. You're thinking of many black girls, many black women who have darker skin. This is what you think about if this is what comes to your head. This violent, sexually violent, and colorist, just all these disgusting thoughts and feelings towards black females. It's just, even for little children, I think that says a lot. Okay, let's go back to the past. I'll see you there. It's like, do you love black lives or not? What the hell is that? And I feel like this is not just the exception. I don't think this is just his sentiments. I think this is widespread, and it's not okay. It is not okay. And I just wanted to say to Miss Owens, I may not agree with everything you say. I'm not about the politics at all, especially now. Every year I care less about it. But I just want to say it's not okay to be so cruel to somebody like that. And I totally have her back, and she should be able to say what she wants to say. It's not me trying to bring up, things about women during somebody else's struggle, but it's like, you guys always want black women to join together and to lead a lot of your marches and your protests and your rioting and demand change. Black Lives Matter, I believe, is founded by 2 queer black females. You expect them to be there. You expect them to be making noise. But we do not get the same treatment ever from anybody. And I don't think that's okay. Wrapping it up, I want to say this to all black women, whether you're a black woman who is really upset by this, these news stories, and you're out there protesting and you're outraged, or, you're on the other spectrum and you're like, this isn't really a black female problem. We don't have, beef with the police as much as other people do. Whichever side you're on, or even in the middle, like I feel Candace Owens was in her videos. I just want to say, like, live your best life. Like, don't, if you want to, you still have the right to live your worst life ever if you want. But I'm just saying, I understand how you feel, because it's like there's pressure to react in a very particular way, and if you do not act in that way, you're hated and you get pressure. I don't think you should bend to that pressure, though. I think that you should do whatever you feel is right for yourself, and you should not cave to pressure to react a certain way because some news stories told some people that, and then some people told you this is how you behave, or you're a coon, or you're a bad person, or you're a race traitor and race baiter and all these different things. And I say that because no one is there when you have an issue that's important, that affects you. I don't see anybody else stepping up to the plate and being like, yeah, this is wrong. You shouldn't do that to Black women, or this is, dangerous to these people in our community. No one does it for you, and it's very energy draining to put a lot into something that doesn't ever give back. I have experience of this in so many different ways, and it's not healthy, and there's so many toxic things I've noticed in the Black community from being on the inside and on the outside looking in. And one of those toxic things, I believe, is like unrequited love, love that is not returned back. You're just giving and giving, and people are taking and taking, and you're getting nothing back. And it just I see so many Black women that are just worn thin from being everybody's mule. It's very toxic, and it affects everything in so many different ways. I don't think it's healthy. I feel like more Black women should just not tolerate it, and that's why I want to make this video. I just don't tolerate people like this, because this is not an abnormal mindset. I'm telling you, I've seen this in action before, live, not just on the internet. When a Black female has an opinion about something that is not just completely kissing somebody else's butt, it's like they deserve death, and it's not okay. It's just not at all okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. My face is like getting rosacea now. Like, what is that? Anyway, I love y'all.